So I'm back at it again today. Had to stop a little bit because the bearings for the fan motor needed changing. I had to wait for those to come in. Now, to swap them is really easy. You just remove a little retaining circlip on the back side of the motor and the bearings just drop out. Drop the new ones in, pop it back together. Really easy. You get the fan out by taking out these 4 screws. You just pull the wire through and then it's real easy to change the bearings. It runs smooth as anything now. Zero noises. Really good. The electrical box has been cleaned up, so that just went in the sink with some Dawn, good scrub with some nylon brushes, and it cleaned right up. The encoder cable, I've sealed this off with some RTV, just stop any junk getting up. That's the only entryway or passage that can get into here, so that's all sealed up. All the air channels through the motor are all completely clear now, so they was all gunked up with rubbish and junk. It was a real mission to clean that up. I had to use some rifle barrel brushes, some little brass and nylon brushes with a cleaning rod out of a rifle. Just ran that backwards and through there with minimal amounts of cleaner because I didn't want to get all the windings in the motor completely soaking wet with degreaser, because I was worried it was going to strip the coating off. Seems to have came out fine. It didn't take the coating off in the end, and the passages are nice and clean now, so that when the fan goes back on it should be able to cool itself down nicely. I've pulled the wires back through and we've got this encoder wire that needs hooking back up. Fortunately, I made a nice picture and a little write down of what each pin was and where it goes back in the plug. There's this gasket here that's got to go back on. Fan goes back on. The encoder plug goes into here, which I've kept in this little baggie down here. This shroud that goes on top of the fan's got to go back on. But other than that, we're pretty much done. And it rotates really well. No noises anymore, so I think it should be okay. My only worry now, until I actually run it, is whether or not I got that encoder back in the right position. I'm not sure how much it really matters. I've tried reading up online, looking through all the Yaskawa documentation, and there's no mention of how critical it is that the encoder's aligned with the actual armature of the motor in phase with that. I don't think it's actually necessary. I think it's just a positional sensor that this uses to detect the RPM of the motor, so hopefully it shouldn't really matter where it went back. It should still work just fine, but I'll only really know when it goes back on the machine and I try and run it. So final bit to do is just get this all back together, and then we'll call it job done. Then we've got to fix the gearbox. So first job, let's put the fan housing back on. I'm denied about putting RTV on the seal for this, but I don't think it's necessary, and it will just make it harder to get off. That's not in the right spot. These motors, even though they look the same around the outside, they're kind of an odd shape, so you've got to get it on the right. That's back, and they've got 4 screws. I'm not going to Loctite these because they're not that critical, and if I ever need to get the fan off to service it, Loctite isn't ideal. Every now and then I'll probably take the fan off and clean it up. I did discuss in a previous video or earlier in the video about making a filter system for this to stop the same thing happening again. My shop where the machine is probably quite a bit cleaner than where the machine came out of, so it probably won't happen anyway, but at some point in the future I will put some kind of filter on this. The good thing about this Yaskawa motor is you can actually take this fan off and get down here and clean this if you really have to, but I think just a good blast with the air line every time I service the machine on its scheduled maintenance cycle will be enough to keep those passages clear and stop this going again. I found in the actual Yaskawa documentation book that these bearings should be changed every 20,000 hours, but the caveat to that is that the seal that's on the output shaft of the motor, that should be done every 5,000 hours. So you're going to change the output seal on the motor shaft 4 times before you do a rebuild. Well, 3 times, shall we say, because it already comes with 1 in it. But yeah, so 4 seals to every bearing rebuild is about what Yaskawa think this needs. There we go. Looks pretty good. Let me just move you around and we'll get the electrical box back on and wired up. So put this all back together. I'm going to have to refer to my pictures that I previously took. Let's put the electrical box back on. So first we got this rubber gasket. So the encoder motor goes through the top, and then the temperature sensor and the other wires come through this bottom part of the seal. And it just locates like that. Not too bad. I'm actually going to take this piece of tape off behind that I put on when I threaded it through. You can actually individually organise those wires. There we go, that's better. So that puts us in a little bit better shape. Now these have got hole cutouts for the electrical box, so I've got lines for that. Now for the fun part. We've got to get these wires through, like so. Whilst doing that, we've also got to line up all these screws. The first one started. This is a pretty fiddly operation to try and line up that gasket. I think when the motors are originally made they actually glue these on because there was some signs of some contact adhesive there. I think I should be able to get this lined up okay without no problem whatsoever. Actually went on pretty easy. One from the top. I've got to get this fan wire back through. Probably should have done that before I put the screws in, but I think it will still fit. Yeah, there we go. believe that should go down there, like so. I have to go back to my pictures and just double check all the routing for these cables, but fairly confident that's where it goes. Okay, let's just tighten up these screws that hold everything down. Seems to be good. Check the fan still moves because that top screw's a little long. Yeah, no interference there whatsoever. Okay, so the next step is to bring these wires over. Pop that over there. It's you. The final one will be W. Just leave that a little bit loose for now. W is pretty short. Maybe I'll put that one on first. Yeah, let's do that. There we go. So now looking at this connector there, we've got to get all these wires back in. Now I've got my list there, and I've got a photograph of all the orientations, so I'm just going to hook this back up. So number one's going to be red. Gonna need a little screwdriver just to push those back in. Try one of these. A little bit more pressure, I think. That sounded like I got it. No, still wants to come out. We're going to have to expand all these little hooks that hold it in. They're all a bit compressed. Let's try that. So, number one. Yeah, that's it. Got it. Let's just expand all these little holding hooks. I'm going to get a little knife to do that. Okay, just realised I screwed up. I am rebuilding the connector backwards. That is why they wasn't playing as I thought they was. That's why you got to be really careful, paying attention. And this is why the pictures are handy. I bet if they go in now, they'll snap in there lovely. Yeah, look at that. That's much easier to connect together. Green. Okay, what's the next one? So number 4, it's white and green, or yellow and green, because these are so nasty and old. Just about make that out. Okay. Number 5 should be purple. Okay, that's number 5. Number 6 is yellow and purple, or white and purple is what the official manual states. That's one. Okay, number 7 is going to be grey. Okay, and I guess number 8 is going to be yellow and grey, or white and grey here. Back in. Okay, and then our black ground wire is going to go into number 10. It's going to be this position. Okay. Our temperature probes are going to go back into 11 and 12. Now this has got a little speck of red on it. It almost all came off in the cleanup of the motor, but I can see it still. It should be good. If we get the photograph out, double check. Red, black, green, white, green, purple, white, purple, grey, white, grey, black, and then the temperature. Yeah, okay. So that's good. We're going to try and lift these up and route that cable under there. That snaps back up in there like that. And then we have this little clamp that needs to go round. I'm not sure if it went round that one too. Let me just bring up my photographs. Yeah, so that makes more sense. So I've actually put these on the wrong way around. They should be facing up. Okay, let's fix it. This is why it's good to check your photographs. Doesn't really matter, but I want it back exactly how it was. One off for now. Okay. Okay. Right, okay. And then we should have this guy up in here. And we got the U is the blue. Oh, sorry. Yeah, U is blue. V is black. Okay. Right, and then we got this final part to go in, and then we're pretty much done with the motor rebuild. So it looks like this one's going to be the grey one. That's going to be the black one. 3 screws for the motor power. And that's it. She's pretty much done. The only thing I got left to do is put some RTV in here, just so that it's sealed up from the outside weld, and then put a new seal in the output shaft. That needs to be a single lip to keep the heat on the shaft down, because it adds friction if you put a double lip on there. There's no need for a double lip because it's inside an oily gearbox, and that will be just fine, at least for 5,000 hours anyway. And then we're all set. So let's get a bit of black RTV. Now over the years I've tried gloves and all sorts of stuff. There's one thing I tell you about RTV, it's getting on your hands whatever you do, so I just get my finger stuck in there now. Don't even worry about it. Get some around on the back side. Just one of those things that's always really mucky. So get it on your fingers, get a good cloth, wipe it off, and then scrub your hands a bit later on. Okay, I'm going to call that good. So the final job's to fit the oil seal. That's it, the seal's in. Take a little bit of beating with a hammer. As you can see, it goes upside down on these. This area is actually down into the gearbox where all the oil is, and the oil's coming at it from this way, so it's trying to keep the oil in. So next step is to fix up the gearbox, and then we'll put it all back together and put it on the machine and see if it still works.